Welcome to 843 TV. I'm your host, Lisa Richardson.
And I'm your host, Annalisa Itkor. And today we are in the beautiful community of Oldfield, and we're in the River Club. And yes, you are looking at a live tree behind us, and we're going to learn all about the community here today.
First up, we're going to be hearing from the general manager, Mr. Paul Castroberti, who's also a resident here.
And we'll be learning a lot about the equestrian community here from Linda Massetti.
And finally, Joe Dieterle is going to share all about the hunting and fishing.
So stick around for a very enlightening episode of 843 TV,
where communities come to speak.
.843 TV, where the Low Country comes to speak.
Where Bluffton comes to speak.
Where Hilton Head Island comes to speak.
Where Beaufort comes to speak.
.843 TV,
where communities come to speak. Welcome to 843 TV. We are here at the beautiful Oldfield Club, and we're in the River Club house today, and we are going to be talking with the general manager, Mr. Castroberti. Good morning, and nice to have
Welcome.
Be
nice
out
to have
here
you with
today.
us.
And
Thank
you can see that we're right here in front of this lovely fire. It's a beautiful crisp morning and sunny out there, and we're going to be learning all about the wonderful amenities here at Oldfield Club. So we'll get started and share a little bit about where the property is located. For us who live here, we know, but there are many who really don't know where Okatee is in South Carolina.
Right. We are outside of Bluffton, in between Bluffton and Beaufort. We're also close to Charleston and Savannah. We're kind of in the middle of nowhere, but right in the heart of everywhere.
Right.
It doesn't take long to get here at all.
It
From
doesn't.
Hilton Head
It
or
does not. But I'm
Beaufort
still
or-
amazed at how many people that live on Hilton Head don't know anything about Oldfield.
Well, I know a fair amount about Oldfield because I'm part of the tennis community on the island, and you guys have phenomenal tennis facilities out here, as well as golf and the horses. I mean,
We are amenity rich here at Oldfield. We have a marine program. We have, like you said, equestrian. The golf course is amazing. I am a golf member here also. The amenities are wonderful, but what's great about Oldfield is that everyone has access to the water. 100% of our community has access to the water. Not a lot of the communities that have river access, it's private docks. Here we all have access to it, which is amazing. And one of the good points of Oldfield is that you do not have to be a golf member to live in Oldfield. There are two different class members, Class A and Class B, and you can move in and not feel saddled with golf dues, which can be hefty. So it's a great selling point for us.
Now, this community has actually been here quite a long time. Share with us
We're just coming up on 20 years since the development started. We actually, the membership took ownership of the club just this year from the developers. It's been passed down, and now we finally have ownership of our club. So it's a pretty exciting time to be in Oldfield.
I actually love the story of how you came into this position because you started here, you were a member here for quite a while, and then you grew into this position. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my wife and I moved up to this area from Florida. We were originally from Boston. My daughter's at college at Charleston, so we wanted to be closer to our daughter. And she didn't want us right in Charleston. And so we heard that the Beaufort Bluffton area was growing and a pretty neat area. So we found a house. Not knowing it was attached to Oldfield, it was just a house. But once we drove through the gates, you're sold. Anybody that drives through the gates here, the architecture along with nature, the blend that we have here is really unique to other communities. So when I was approached 7 months ago about stepping in as an acting general manager, I thought it was a great challenge, and if you love what you do, you never go to work. So for me, this is a dream come true. I drive my golf cart to the clubhouse, and I'm at work. So it's been a great experience for me. I love Oldfield.
You mentioned the tie to nature here, and one of the things that impresses me so much about Oldfield is you actually have staff here in place like Jill Combrink, who are
Correct.
They're here
She's our
to
naturalist.
tie the
Right.
community to
Right.
nature. So tell us a bit more about
Well,
that.
we've just become an Audubon International community, there's only 8 in the United States that have it, and I believe we are the smallest community to have that recognition. which is pretty amazing. Jill is a naturalist. Besides doing kayak tours, river tours, she does bird watches and just nature talks. It's amazing to have her here. It is a big selling point in our community.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
So if someone is looking around in this area, there's a wealth of options, quite frankly. So how would you start that process if someone would come in and would you give them a visit? How would you take care of them?
There's lots of ways you can come and visit if you're local. Obviously, you can come in with a realtor and do a tour, or you can call Oldfield and talk to Melissa Carter, our membership director, and she'd be happy to give you a tour. But we have Discover Oldfield tours, which a lot of the communities have, Discover tours. But you can come in and build your own package. We give you housing. You can set your amenity drive any way you want. You can ride a horse, you can play golf, you can have dinner at the River Club, you can go to any of the events that we have on those weekends. It's kind of a plug and play. Whatever your interests are, we build around that. Make sure that
kind
you
of
get to
live
do that.
it temporarily
Absolutely.
to see what life would really be like.
That's
And
cool.
it's become so busy that we do not have available dates for the people that are requesting them now.
Well, we call that a champagne problem.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So during the day you're working, what are you doing for fun? What are you and your wife interested here as far as your recreational activities?
What's nice is that if we have even if it's a short weekend, we can pop into Savannah. There are so many great restaurants and hotels and things to do in Savannah, or go to Charleston and visit our daughter. We're both golf members here at Oldfield, so it pains me to watch my wife walking out to the first tee while I'm walking into my office, but it's great. She loves to play. We've got a wonderful community of golfers. What's neat about Oldfield, and I've belonged to clubs in the past, it's the most unpretentious place I think I've ever been. When I got here, I went up to the driving range and I'm hitting balls because I've been in the restaurant business my whole life and never really had time to play. And I said, here I have an opportunity to play, and there's a men's group that plays, and they asked me to join. Nobody asked me where I was from and what my profession was and what Fortune 500 company I ran. It was just golf, and it was just great people. We moved from Florida, where we lived for 10 years, and we made more friends in Oldfield in the first 10 days than we had for the 10 years that we lived in Florida.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
We're going to learn a lot more about Oldfield, and we're very excited to learn more about Oldfield. But for the moment, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more 843 TV. Welcome back to 843 TV. We are delighted to now welcome Linda Massetti. Now, Linda, you're a relatively new member here at the Oldfield Club. Tell us about the experience. How did you wind up here?
We had been living in another community down here for 7.5 years. We moved down from the Chicago suburbs at that time. And my husband's passion is houses, fixing up houses, working on houses, and we found a beautiful home in here to work on, and that's really what drew us here.
It's hard to believe there's homes that need working on in here, first of all, isn't that?
I know.
But share a little bit about why you came over here from a different community. What were some things that you found drawing to you?
More the intimacy of here, the laid-back quality of life. It's a very casually elegant atmosphere here, and people are just lovely and warm and friendly.
Now, I understand that you're a horsewoman.
That is
something
correct.
That's very near and dear to my
Yes,
heart.
yeah.
Tell us about the barn here, your experience boarding your horse here, the property itself, because that's the impression you get. When you drive up to Oldfield, you think horses.
Everything has been extremely positive at the barn. I really could not think of a negative comment. My horse and myself are aging out, let's put it that way. So I'm not actively taking him around to horse shows anymore. But the facilities are here. I can set up jumps. I can jump whatever I want. Nice trails. The staff has been fabulous. I've couple of times we've gone on vacation, and I've not had to worry about my horse while I'm away, which is fabulous. The pasture facilities for the turnout, the horses need turnout every day. Wonderful, big, grassy. The ring is well maintained. So, and as I said, the staff is fabulous.
And it's so charming. I'm sure you notice this when you come in. Whenever you go over a bridge, you know, and you see the little signs that say "horses on bridge" or "horse crossing."
Yes.
And there's something about that in a community. It's just so charming. They're so horse friendly here.
Yes.
Well, even before that, when you approach the gate and
Yes.
you're on the main road, which is the 170, you see the horses out there.
Now, is that part of the
Yeah.
turnout field on 278?
Those are
Yeah.
some of them, and they're all basically surrounding the barn.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Tell us about your husband then, some of the things he's interested in.
Well, my husband, he's really interested in houses. Architecture
Well, we
is
said that,
his thing.
but as far as his recreational activities that he might enjoy
He
here.
loves the gym here. The facilities are fabulous. The machines that are available, they're top notch. Anything you find at any fabulous club anywhere in the country. So that's wonderful. We enjoy the swimming pool. It's great having the lap pool. Riding bikes. And my husband has been a little limited in that he just had a knee replacement. So.
I would imagine the bike riding is a beautiful thing to do around here, just with all the nature, as we said, and the water, and probably, are there trails, bike trails or bike paths?
There are bike trails that run completely around the whole property, along the river, and again, everyone has access to these trails, which is a neat.
Wonderful.
It's a neat factor. One thing I didn't mention is that Oldfield is not a retirement community per se. We have 80 families and over 100 children in our community. And it's one of the things that struck us when we first came through. I saw a woman picking up her mail at the greeter store, which is our main building. It looks like a gas station when you pull in. All the mailboxes are there. So you go to pick up your mail, and I saw a woman picking up her mail. We have a little general store, and the kids can get ice cream. And they were walking back from picking up the mail. One of the kids was on a bike, and she was pushing a carriage. And I didn't want to live in a community that did not have that diversity.
That's a great point that you brought up, that little store in the beginning. And what a great place to meet people and convene there and chat. And whether you have young kids of your own or grandkids, it's got to be a great place to take the grandkids
It
when
is.
they come down and visit.
The stable also is so welcoming to children to come over at any time. There are chickens. They love to see the chickens, the cats.
That's something you don't
the
get here.
horses. I mean, it's a
maybe I'm
very
Spanish,
well
that's
and a wonderful program with very gentle horses if kids want to start to ride.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
That's really neat.
A really great introductory.
Now, you mentioned your husband had knee replacement surgery. So what things are offered here, Paul, that would speak to someone who maybe isn't quite as active outdoors, whether it's temporary or permanent?
Well, I think that the pools, we have two pools. One is a lap pool, and there's exercise programs that take place in the pool. I know you said less active, but I mean, you can drive your golf cart down and drive it on the end of the dock and enjoy the dolphins and the river. We have oyster roasts that are here. There are events. There are so many events that happen in Oldfield on a daily, weekly basis that if you tried to do them all, you wouldn't have time to do anything else. So there are trivia nights. There are
That's kind of what I'm speaking to.
Yeah. There are lots of groups. There's a men's club,
Clubs, I would imagine,
men's
here in
club
the
and
plantation.
women's club, which have speakers and entertainment. We had a men's club dinner where we had an orchestra that came in and played out on our lawn here in front of the River Club, in front of the river. A beautiful event, and you don't have to technically belong to men's club to go to some of these events. If there's a speaker that comes in, we have a fantastic wine club here at Oldfield, which is probably the biggest club that we have. I don't know what that tells. I don't know what that tells you. But they do events every month. So there are so many opportunities to be involved, as much as you want or as little as you want.
Sure. Well, we're going to have another guest join us in a few minutes, so stay right here. We're going to be back with more 843 TV. Welcome back to 843 TV. We're enjoying our morning here at Oldfield Club. And up next is another guest, Joe Dieterle. And you came to Oldfield when you came to visit a friend, which caused quite a change of plans for you. So share with us that story.
I was already retired in a little quaint town on the eastern shore of the Chesapeake called Oxford. And our daughter had a high school roommate and classmate whose parents lived here, and we knew them also. So we had heard about it. Our daughter actually visited before we did and said, "You have to see this." I said, No, I'm retired and I'm done. But we did. We came and we visited, and a real estate fellow spent 3 hours with us, and my wife and I were taken, obviously. It took us some time to make that decision, but the impetus was really produced by the people here. Fishing's great, hunting's great, boating's great, golfing's great, but it's the people. We couldn't come here on any occasion, which we did frequently before we bought our lot, and stand at the bar at the Magnolia Grill by yourself without somebody coming up and talking with you. I've never saw a community so warm and open as Oldfield.
That's fantastic. I love hearing that. So people obviously were a main ingredient, the primary ingredient, but you also mentioned hunting, fishing, boating. Tell us a little bit about your experience getting involved with that in the community.
Well, even before we moved here, we would go out with Jason on boats. We'd hire the boat and go up and down the river. Actually, my wife and I went shooting one time with him probably almost 10 years ago.
Not to interrupt, but Jason is...
Jason DeBose.
Okay.
He's the principal water pro and hunting person here at the Outfitter Center.
Okay.
And yes, and he sets up, like, I'm going quail hunting on Saturday with 4 people. He set up 4 quail hunts this winter. And but anyway, we would participate in those things before we even got here. So I said, that's really my kind of place. I've lived on 2 golf courses, and I don't think I've ever played 18 holes. And so I don't mind living on this golf course. It's beautiful. I mean, that's really like, and I can shout things to the golfers behind my house, upset them.
But the other thing, I love you mentioning somebody like Jason. I mean, I don't know too many communities that offer an individual who can take you by the hand, because here you are, an avid fisherman, hunter, boating individual, coming down from one environment into another,
right.
And here you have someone who's already an expert, so you don't experience that frustration of what are the rules. I mean, because South Carolina, man,
Right.
our conservancy efforts make that licensing process, all of that. It's got to be great to have somebody like that to sort of take you by the hand.
I came from the little town of Oxford, as I said, and that's a water community, goose and duck hunting. So it was wonderful. But when you came here, it was so welcoming, and of course, Jason has a full contingent of folks, Jeremy and Kyle, who help him, and they're all wonderful. They'll take you out on the boat if you want to learn this waterway. This river's not marked until you get down to, down to Hilton Head, and so you need to know your way around. So they take you out first.
Right.
When we were talking just before, you mentioned you're from the north, and the fishing is totally different than here. So in fact, it's quite an educational process that you have to go through to learn about this.
Yes, it's different baits and different rules and regs,
Yep.
and I don't know the spots, so
The
I
new
have to follow Jason. See? But so we go with him, and plus I go with good fellows, and we have a good time, and we laugh it up. And the same thing shooting. Jason takes us out to Turkey Hill, a wonderful facility, 17,000 acres, and they have a sporting clays facility, and they do dove hunts out there. So once you go by yourself or with Jason, you can go by yourself with a group of fellas. So I can call 3 fellas and say, let's go out to Turkey Hill and shoot.
Now, you sound perfectly able to catch your dinner, but I would imagine there are days when you come up short. Are there
Never happened.
are there good dining opportunities here within Oldfield?
Oh, absolutely. And as somebody, I guess Paul already said, Tuesday night is Casual Tuesday up at the Magnolia Grill. Thursday night is dinner at the sit down at the Magnolia Grill. One Wednesday a month is men's club. One Wednesday a month is ladies club. every Friday night there's dinner here. Sometime, and then there's Sunday brunch. As I said, you could eat your
When
way
you have
through
to cook.
Oldfield every day of the week.
Right.
So-
Well, I mean, I know from my perspective, there are times when I would come home and I would say to myself, I just don't feel like cooking dinner. And it sounds like there's a good alternative. Let's just grab the family or
And the
the
food is
husband
excellent.
or whatever and head out.
Food at this.
Really?
Jason Wynn's a great chef, and he's got a good support staff.
While we're talking about staff, we have an amazing staff here. When Miss Massetti was on earlier, she was talking about the warmth of the community, and our staff blends right into that. I don't think there's a time when, as a member, that I haven't walked into dining when I haven't gotten a big hug from the crew. They're big huggers here. And it really is something that until you experience it, you don't understand what, we are, as an administrative person now, we are a family serving families, but it is one big family. It's pretty amazing. And the outside events, not outside events, but the events that we do on top of regular dining, the oyster roast that we have down on the water, the low country boils, we'll bring a band in every now and then and have an event. There's a third Saturday of every month that somebody will host at their home so that new members can go and meet other folks.
Is that?
And it's a potluck, and everybody brings 2 bottles of wine, one for you and one to share, and your own glasses, and a dish. And it's really a neat event. So
That's great.
Lots
Well,
of eating opportunities.
You've given us so many reasons to fall in love with Oldfield, and I'm sure that our audience listening is looking forward to coming out and paying you all a visit.
We'd love
so
that.
thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining us for another episode of 843 TV.
Where communities come to speak.